That paralyzing knot of fear when trying to express your heart. The terror of rejection can hold us captive. Join Sam as he confronts his biggest dating anxiety, the dreaded worst-case scenario. This story reveals how facing fears, even rejection, unlocks incredible courage. Learn to break free from anxiety's grip and live your fullest life. Watch now. Sam stood nervously by the elevator, the fluorescent lights buzzing overhead. He was waiting for Maya, the coworker he'd been crushing on for months, his heart pounding with a mixture of hope and dread. Today, he had decided, would be the day he finally asked her out. He imagined the worst-case scenario, replaying in his mind the scene where Maya laughs in his face, his whole body tense with anticipation. Each imagined rejection was a blow to his confidence, the shame almost palpable in the sterile office atmosphere. His mind conjured whispers of office gossip and the humiliation of a public rejection. A cold sweat broke out on his forehead as his worst fear felt about to manifest. The elevator doors opened with a chime, snapping him back to reality. Maya stood there, smiling warmly. This was it, the moment of truth. "Busy day, huh?" he mumbled, his voice barely audible. Shameful with the attempt to be brave, his voice still felt as meek as a mouse. Maya's eyes softened with understanding. "Tell me about it," she replied. But even as his heart began to calm, the fear hadn't disappeared completely. The doors started to close. His heart was pounding in his chest. He had one chance. He had to make a decision. His head started to spin, as if it was the end of the world. Anxiety screamed at him to let it go, to retreat to the safety of inaction. His legs felt weak, his hands were sweating. His only thought was the need to flee. "What's the actual worst-case scenario?" a quiet voice asked. Could she say no? Of course, but then what? He wondered. The imagined devastation crumbled under the weight of reality. The worst possible thing was worse than any real knot. And he knew that was what scared him the most. Sam made his choice. His hand shot out, pressing the elevator doors open again, his voice clear and steady. He wanted to make her understand. "Actually, Maya," he said, "I was wondering if you'd like to get a coffee sometime, outside of this place." Maya's surprise melted into a genuine smile. "I'd really like that," she said softly. The tension in his body relaxed. Even if she had declined, Sam realized, victory was already his. He had faced the fear that imprisoned him. He was finally free. The anxiety that ruled his life was not a singular event, but a state of being. He could be stronger than that. By daring to act, he reclaimed his power, showing himself that rejection was nothing more than a moment. Living in fear was a lifetime lost, a life he didn't want for himself. This was the beginning of his future. As the elevator ascended, Sam felt something new stir inside. Hope, courage, and the promise of a future no longer ruled by his worries. He felt so relieved, almost like floating on air. The worst-case scenario had come and gone, and it was far less scary than he'd imagined. The anxiety monster shrank in his mind. More importantly, he had taken the first brave step toward becoming the person he wanted to be. He looked forward to seeing the world anew. The next day at work, Sam felt a newfound confidence. It was a clean slate, a fresh start, the start of his independence. He walked over to Maya's desk, his heart light and anticipation bubbling in his chest. He wanted to thank her again for accepting his request. "Hey, Maya," he said, his voice casual and confident. "Just wanted to say thanks again for agreeing to coffee." Maya laughed, her eyes shining.
Of course! I'm looking forward to it, Sam.
As he walked back to his desk, Sam knew that this was just the beginning. He had so many adventures ahead of him. The fear of rejection no longer held him captive, and he vowed to live to the fullest and chase his dreams and aspirations. He knew it wouldn't be easy, but it would be worth it. He wouldn't let his anxiety control him or let it limit him again. He would live his life with courage, kindness, and an open heart. He wanted to inspire people around him to also live by courage and kindness. And he knew that by facing his fears, he could achieve anything he set his mind to, because that's what really matters. Sam knew he could be the best version of himself, and he was ready to begin. He smiled with conviction.